Hello. Um, Thank you for stopping by. And here we are with the next presentation for you. And before we begin, I would like to take a minute and say thank you to Sammy, who has finessed this presentation and is also hosting this live. So thank you, Sammy. With that, we will get going, and I will now uh, get the presentation on. Okay, so here we are. By the way, my name is Faizal Garasia, and I am Dominion Lending Center mortgage agent. We have a topic today, and we have 12 slides to cover. So here we go. Okay, so sorry, Sammy, can I just take control for a minute? Thank you. Okay, there. So before we begin webinar best practices, a quiet place is ideal for better listening during the webinar. Headphones are a great idea for easier understanding. Please put your mobile phone in silent mode to avoid interruptions. Best is to avoid multitasking for optimal results, and kindly stay present. Sitting down really helps. With that, the topic is, will home prices drop further with the new rate hike in December of 2022? We're end of November, and in December 2022, when the rate hike comes, will that drop the home prices any further? And so here, I've got some things to share. Before we get to that part, some of the socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, website, phone number is there. You can call or text. And we also have a mortgage app, which you can download from faisalgarasia.com, Android, Apple, whichever one you have. And it's a phenomenal app. It allows you to play with the numbers, the purchase price, the down payment, the mortgage amount, the rate, the taxes, everything around getting a mortgage. And it's a beautiful app, helps you understand and answers most of your questions. With that being said, the topic today is, and I'll just go back to the slide again. The topic today is, will home prices drop further with the new rate hike in December? And when I think of this topic, what comes to my mind is Dr. Sherry Cooper saying, and I've just quoted this from Dr. Sherry Cooper, that prior to pandemic, we've been having overnight rate of only 1% increase, quarters percent, because inflation was below target. Inflation below target is certainly not in the cards in the next 2 years. And therefore, what that means is Don't expect in the next 2 or 3 years for overnight rates to drop back to pre-pandemic levels. It is not something that is expected. Um, I mean, there's a lot of speculation as to once the inflation goes down, will the rates continue staying where it is, or will they drop? Um, the fact is, we don't expect. I don't expect the rates to drop drastically. Even if they do, they'll be very gradual, and it will be past 2 3 years, and it will certainly not be the pre-pandemic rates. So one of the things to consider, if the home prices will drop, let's take a step back and understand the aspects on determining a home price. Now, in a transaction, seller of the home has a very critical, most times has an upper hand because it's the home that they want to sell. They own it. They have a mortgage on it, let's say, or whatever the scenario is. They don't have to sell, because if they sell, they would buy something or rent something or somewhere. They have to live somewhere most times. So in that scenario, a seller does not necessarily have to sell unless they are in a pinch, or unless they are desperate to sell. And therefore, the seller is counting on equity for future planning, either whether that's retirement, or moving into another home, moving into a bigger home, moving into a smaller home with no mortgage, so on and so forth. They have some sort of idea, some sort of planning in place. And therefore, selling the home at a certain dollar amount is critical for their planning purposes. Seller will be, will be open to negotiation. However, if they've seen a home price of a certain number, for a seller to go much lower than that number is really hard. It's just hard as a seller. I've been in that position. So on and so forth. It is not an easy pill to swallow, and most times, if seller does not get somewhere close to what they're asking, they have the right to take the home off the market. They do not have to sell. So that's one. Number two is there is a high demand for homes. What I mean by that is, we as Canada, there's lots of immigrants coming into the country. And when those immigrants come into the country, they need a home. So they're definitely renting in the beginning, which puts the pressure on the rental market for the time being. And then some of them even buy, which is 100% new demand. And I want to say this, it's 100% new demand. There's next slide where there's existing demand. So that's different term. This is brand new demand, 100% new demand. So these are folks that have come from other country, brought their family over, and now they want a home to live in. So when you look at the next part, there is limited new home supply. Builders can only build homes when skilled labor is available, which is hard and expensive to find. Number one. Number two is building material has increased in price drastically. By the way, that's a typo. But building material has increased in price drastically. Um, on top of it, builders run a business where if the sale price of their home does not support the profit that the builder is looking for, they would rather not build new homes. because it's a lot of risk for a builder to build a home that will not support the sale price that they're looking for. And the last point that I want to make is divorce, separation, living apart. There's different terms, but when a couple breaks off from each other, which has happened past pandemic in many scenarios, um, one will move out, or even both will move out. They'll sell their home, or give their terminate their lease, or whatever the scenario is. Even so, there's another demand on homes with that, and that's a 100% increase in existing demand. So, I want to make sure that it's understood. The previous slide was 100% new demand. This is 100% increase in existing demand. So that's that part. Um, Going back to the topic, will home prices drop drastically? My answer, now no one has crystal ball, of course. However, from all the information that I have, what I see is the answer to that question is no. There might plateau or dip slightly, but prices dropping drastically is very, very slim chance. Now, and I just put that into perspective. There is no chance that a home that costs $1 million will go down, will be sold at 500. It's almost impossible, just because of the mortgage that it has, the seller's expectations, and so on and so forth. Having a drastic drop is almost impossible. Now, if you're looking for a home, I strongly suggest get yourself a pre-approval. That's your step one. And step two is start looking for a home. It takes a long time. Some of my clients, it has taken up to 6 months for them to buy a home, to find a home that they like, and they had to, lock in their rate twice before they were able to find a home. So it really, today's market, the inventory is not as much. Therefore, you are sorting through the ones that are out there for sale. And if that number is low, then you're going through those low number of homes that are up for sale, and to find something that you actually like. My goal at Dominion Lending Center is to find the lowest interest rate for your mortgage and fund your mortgage in 10 days from application. Be ready for it at least. So that's my goal. And with that, I would like to say thank you to all of you that are watching this, and um, and thank you to Sammy, who put this together and is also hosting the live. And with that, the last slide is for us to connect. There's a phone number that you can call, text, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the website, and of course, the DLC, Dominion Lending Center mortgage app. Thank you again, all. And with that, I will end my live.